with Paula Shaw. I am so excited that you're here with me today. We're trying something different, live streaming from my Paula Shaw page, and then we're going to share to the Change It Up radio page so that we can maybe engage more of you in the fun we have recording this show. So today, and they're people who are either change makers or sort of thing. So we're just going to have a little fun today, and I'm going to just riff for a little bit about some of the things that are nearest and dearest to my heart. So please stay with us. We are just about to begin.
Tired of the rut you're stuck in, but don't know what to do? Change it up! Join life transitions therapist, speaker, and best-selling author Paula Shaw. She'll be exploring topics that make change and the challenge it presents smoother and more productive. She'll also be spotlighting change makers who are leading the charge to make the world a better place. If you're ready to live a more exciting life, at home, in the workplace, and around the world, it's time to step out of your comfort zone and change it up. Now, here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome to Change It Up Radio, here with Paula Shaw. I'm very pleased to have you here with me today because we're going to be just playing together today. I don't have a guest that we'll be interviewing today because I had a lot of things on my own mind that I wanted to talk to you all about. First of all, just a quick review for any of you who are new to the show. This is Change It Up Radio, and we're all about change. We're all about spotlighting change makers or people who help others deal with change, people who are trying to make the world a better place through change. So we are all about change. In my own work, I'm an author. I am a life transitions coach, so I'm constantly working with people who are dealing with the upheaval of change, whether that change comes from a death, a divorce, a move, a change in their environment, whatever it might be, a change in their health very often. I help people deal with change. And one of my favorite things to help people with is just giving them tools, giving them processes, giving them possibly books or information that are going to help them deal with change. So today, we're going to be talking about something that is kind of a new thing on this show. I'm calling it Paula's Picks. And Paula's Picks are going to be people, places, and things, and maybe causes that are some of my favorites that I want to help get information out to the world about. So one of the areas we'll be looking at will be my favorite professional picks. And those will be people who are at the top of their game or who are doing things a bit differently to try and make them better, that kind of thing. So I want to encourage any of you out there who are professionals, whatever your profession is, whether you're a doctor, a dentist, a coach, an author, a speaker, if you feel like you're doing something in a new and different way, or the way that you're doing it is something that would really appeal to our Change It Up audience, please contact me. You can email me at paula@changeitupradio.com. That's paula@changeitupradio.com. You can go to paulashaw.com and contact me through my personal website. Or you can call the studio, but probably easier to use one of the methods that I just mentioned. But these people that we choose and the causes and all that will have a special page on our website. I will talk about them on every show. We will be making commercials for certain of them that are businesses. They'll be interviewed once at least a quarter. So my dream is that these people who are really trying to take it to a new level will get exposure to you through us. So if you're one of those people and that idea sounds good to you, please get in touch with me because I want to do everything I can to help you get your word out to the people you want to get it out to. Now, my first pick today is something that I just saw yesterday. My old co-host on Transition Radio, well, he's not really old, but I mean, former, I should say, former co-host on Transition Radio, Don Meredith, was at our Rotary meeting one week, and we heard a very disturbing presentation on human trafficking. And Don woke up the next day after having had a bad dream, but in the dream, he saw something. In the dream, he saw a woman who was being trafficked and being forced into a room against her will, where she would probably become the victim of sexual exploitation. But he saw her making a signal, and his dream is now that this signal, which is very subtle, is something that we can send out on social media to ultimately go viral so that victims of human trafficking, whether it's sex or labor or whatever, would be able to signal someone that they need help. Because too often, there's no way for them to let anybody know they need help. And it can become very dangerous to them or their families to ask for help. So in Don's dream, he saw a woman being escorted down the street into this hotel. And the signal she was doing was like a V signal. And she was, I'm not sure if I can do it so the Facebook people can see it, but her hand would flip back and forth. So I can do it this way more easily. But if your hand was hanging, you would do the same thing. So it's almost like a victory sign, but you flip your hand back and forth. In the video, which you can easily find on my Paula Shaw page, and it says Secret Weapon to Combat Trafficking, I believe is what the title is under the video. It's also on our Change It Up radio page, and you can find it in many other places in social media, but also on Don Meredith's Facebook page. Human trafficking is a huge issue. You may be asking yourself, why should I have any interest in this? I don't know anybody who's being trafficked, but let me give you a few statistics about this. And I recently attended a 3-hour training on preventing human trafficking. And I have to tell you, my heart was broken at the end of this because it's a huge problem. And none of us are exempt. None of our children, no matter how great a neighborhood you might live in, our children are not exempt because these traffickers are finding them on social media. They're looking for somebody who's posting about a big fight they had with their mom or dad or saying their parents don't understand them. They're looking for people who seem to be discontent, or perhaps they are using drugs. Let me give you a few statistics here. Over 40 million people worldwide are victims of human trafficking. And the U.S. is one of the largest consumers of sex trafficking. I know so often we think, this only goes on in third world countries or something, but that's not the case at all. 51% of the sex trafficked individuals are women, but boys are being exploited as well. 10,949 cases were reported in the U.S. in 2018 to a Polaris-operated U.S. national human trafficking hotline. And it involved 23,078 individual survivors. And by the way, this is not the total statistic. This is a fraction of the amount of people that are being trafficked because most of the time I mean, so many people don't report. They don't know how to get out of it. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to get help. Let's look at who's vulnerable. The average age of a sex trafficked individual is 16. 16. These are high school students, guys. 16. Also, people at risk are those that have recently migrated to the area or relocated, substance users, mental health, people with mental health problems, those who have been involved with the child welfare system, and those who are runaways or homeless. And I can tell you, as sad as this is, and I hate to have to say it, but most of you know I am working every Tuesday afternoon now in Donovan State Prison. And I can't tell you how many guys I have talked to who came from foster homes where they were abused. So when there's abuse, so often, especially once one is like 16, the teenager tends to run away. But they get out there on the streets and life is hard and they don't have money and where are they going to live? And there's so many things that happen that they weren't planning on, that they never expected. And so often they fall victim to somebody who seems like their friend, who seems like a good guy. Maybe with some of the girls, they even come on as a boyfriend type figure and then ask the girl to do the first sexual exploitative experience as a favor to them, or, hey, we really need the money, or just do this for me and I will take care of you. It ends up being that kind of thing. And then eventually, once they learn about the person, they now know where the family lives, they know intimate details about this person's life, and through those means, they then threaten them to stay in that life. So Don's dream, and this came to him in a dream, is that there would be this signal, so it would be like a V sign turning forward and back, whether the hand is hanging and turning or up and turning. It's very subtle. Your hand can be by your side. In the video, you'll see how the trafficker doesn't even notice that the girl in question is doing this. And yet, it allows someone to see that she needs help and call the appropriate authorities. So please go on Facebook, look for Don Meredith's Secret Weapon to Combat Human Trafficking, and share it with everybody you know. Let's get it out there. Let's get it viral so we can help these victims. 40 million people need us, guys. So please, let's do that. All right. After this word, we will be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Kelly Klein of One Trust Home Loans, Loan Coach Kelly. A while back, my business was in a slump, and it triggered a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it even had me questioning if I'd made the right career choice. So I booked a session with Paula Shaw, and after hearing my predicament, she explained that when we get into negative, self-sabotaging thinking, and we are being run over by our limiting beliefs, it's almost impossible to create positive outcomes. She helped me clear those destructive thoughts and beliefs using her cutting-edge energy psychology techniques. Not only did I feel a whole lot better after the session, but within 2 weeks, I had 7 loans in my pipeline. I was so glad that I went to see Paula Shaw. And you should too. It really changed my perspective on life, business, and now my business is going great. You can reach her at 626-864-0756. That's 626-864-0756. 626-864-0756. Or check her out at paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Paula Shaw here. I'm thrilled that LifeWave phototherapy patches, which use no drugs or chemicals, have become a part of my life and my business. My family and I all use their wearable patch technology, and the results are life-changing. My parents in their 90s used the X39 patch, which activates stem cells, reverses aging, and improves the function of every area of the brain. I love X39 because I can work out with the 30-year-olds with no problem. And it's erased my fine lines and given my skin a youthful glow. LifeWave patches use a patented form of phototherapy, frequencies of light, to safely boost health and wellness at the cellular level. No drugs. To learn more, go to my website, lifewave.com/safe health. That's lifewave.com/safe health.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio. And we are riding solo today. It's just me, no guests that I'm interviewing, because I'm sharing with you some of Paula's picks, some of the things that are my favorite things, some of the people who are my favorite people. In our last segment, we talked about a video that we're hoping to take viral on Facebook, which depicts a signal doing this kind of thing with your hand, that people who are in danger of being trafficked, human trafficking, whether it's labor trafficking or sex trafficking, they need help. So please check out that video. It's on all of my pages, Paula Shaw and Change It Up Radio, and I'm sure Don Meredith's page and many other pages, because we're trying to get it out there, so help us with that. One of my other favorite picks is in a word that you just heard me talking about during the break, and that is LifeWave phototherapy patches, the banner of which you can see behind me today, because these patches really are truly, truly one of my favorite things in my life and have been for the last 3 years. People recently have been getting some emails, people hearing the commercial or hearing me talk about the patches, and they've asked me some questions that I want to address during this segment. So yes, one of the reasons I love the patches is because there are no drugs or chemicals in them. There's no transdermal action with these patches. They have in the center, and by the way, this is what they look like for those of you on Facebook who can see this. They look just like a little round Band-Aid, but in the center are crystals, organic, man-made crystals that are programmed with certain frequencies to take certain messages into the body. So your body is always putting out infrared light. And when the crystals take that light and mirror it back into the body with the specific frequency they're programmed with, this message goes to the nerve endings, and that goes to the brain, and then a specific action will happen, whether that is eliminating pain with the Ice Wave patch, increasing your energy with the Energy Enhancer patches, calming your stress with the Eon patch, or activating stem cells with the X39. That is the new excitement in the last year. The X39 was launched, and most of you know stem cells is everything we're hearing about these days. The cure for this, the improvement of that, the help with your aching joints and your painful knees and all of that. And I know I was talking to somebody on the phone just the other day who was telling me that a friend of his was taking stem cell injections to help with his joints. And yes, they were helping, But there is a danger level to them too if the stem cells come from somebody else. But this friend of his was paying $10,000 a treatment. And these patches can be purchased for under $100, and that lasts you for a month. So I'm very excited about that. They're so accessible for anybody. Anybody can figure out how to wear them. I mean, everybody who knows me knows I'm the ultimate techie dunce. So trust me, this is very, very simple. And one of the things I love best about the Eon patch is because it's so anti-stress and calming. Very often when someone comes into my office and they're really distraught, no matter what meds they may be on or what supplements they're taking, with their permission, I can put an Eon patch on them because there is not going to be a problem with any drug interaction. So I can put this patch on, and before you know it, they're feeling much calmer, much more able to access their thoughts, and much more able to do processes with me that will help enhance their overall well-being. So they are a very, very exciting patch. Exciting product, actually. One of the things people ask me is, well, what is this process? How do crystals do this? Well, the process, the technology is also actually called photobiomodulation or phototherapy, because it's much easier to say. And basically, it's the same thing that happens when sunlight hits your skin. And when it comes in at a certain frequency, the body creates D3. Most of us know that. Vitamin D3 is created by sunlight on your skin. But a different frequency of sunlight will cause the melanin in your skin to rise and you'll get tan. That is an example of photobiomodulation, how light can create change in the body. And that is the underlying way that these LifeWave patches work. They reflect light at a certain frequency back into the body through the patch, and then that frequency takes the message to the nerve endings, and they take the message to the brain, and voila, something very cool happens. LifeWave has been in business for 15 years, so this is not a fly-by-night operation. I was also asked recently, are there any studies to prove that this works? Absolutely. There are studies for every single product they have, and you can view them on the website. I am a distributor myself of these patches because I love them so much. 3 years ago, when I first discovered them, it was because I was having some really bad back pain. I was actually at a conference, and I had spent the night at my parents' house on a different mattress, and you know how that goes. And I was sitting there, and I was kind of, moving around and rubbing my back and doing that stuff we do to try to make it feel better. And a friend sitting next to me said, "What's going on?" And I said, "Oh, slept on a bad mattress last night, and my back's hurting." And she pulls out these little patches that look like little round Band-Aids and said, "Put these on. Put the tan one right in the center of the pain, and then put the other one maybe to the right or the left or above or below it. See what works." And I'm sitting there literally going like, you got to be kidding me. But I didn't want to be rude. So I said, "Oh, sure. Thank you. I'll do that." And so I did. I excused myself. I went to the restroom. I put the patches on my lower back. I didn't feel anything right away, though many, many people, and very often people do feel relief instantly. But I felt kind of okay. And then I went back into the conference, and I was sitting there, and about 10 minutes later, I realized that there was no more pain. And I went, oh my goodness, what is this? So at the break, I talked with her about it, and it was, in fact, those ice wave patches that I was telling you about that can get instant relief. So I got very, very interested in the company and in this product because everybody I knew at my age, and I am well into being a boomer, as most of you know, everybody's got some kind of pain, right? Your knees are bad, your back is bad, your neck hurts, your shoulders are uptight. And even the younger people, they have pain from working out too hard or lifting more weight than they should have. And this is really interesting. I was walking this morning and I thought to myself, wow, it has been a long time since I've had to put patches on my lower back for back pain. And I work out 3 or 4 times a week. And I do bar classes, which those of you who know bar know it's tough. It's not an easy workout. And at 69 years of age, there are not too many people out there, I think, who are doing bar classes. I'm pretty happy about the way I feel and what I'm able to do at this point in my life, because I have always been determined that I'm going into old age kicking and screaming. There's not going to be any aging gracefully in my camp. No, I want to be able to do everything I want to do until the day I say adieu and move on to the next life. And I am grateful to David Schmidt, the creator of these patches, the founder and CEO of Lifeway, because the man is some kind of genius. I think he gets downloads from the divine to figure out how to do what he does. But I'm telling you, and it's not just me, millions of people all over the world, this product is sold in every country in the world now, and millions of people are having the same experience, along with some other crazy things like their hair growing back in their natural color and their overall energy so improved, their sleep really improved, ailments that they've had like degenerative discs and that kind of thing. The company does not make those claims because that would be a medical claim, and this is not a medical device. But I'm out there talking to people. I'm out there with people who are using it and hearing their stories, and it's pretty amazing. And I'm thrilled that my 94-year-old dad and my 90-year-old mother are two of the users, and they are lucid, they are active, they are healthy, and I am so grateful for that because I don't know too many people who are as lucky as I am that my parents are my parents, my blood parents. They're the ones that were married, that gave birth to me, and they are still together all these years later. And their life is, filled with activity and stress right now for a lot of different reasons, and still they are doing great. They are doing great. In fact, in about a month, or let's see, early June, you'll be getting a chance to see my dad again because it'll be D-Day time again. And, we bring him back every year during D-Day. And he will be here. And wait till you see him. I'm not kidding. He has more of a glow. His hair seems a little fluffier to me. I mean, everything about him looks great. And my mother is just sort of like a monument to timelessness. She looks amazing. So, yep, I'm a big fan of LifeWave phototherapy patches. And if you want to learn more, contact me at Paula at changeitupradio.com or go to the website lifewave.com/safe health. SAFEHEALTH. All right, we'll be right back with more of Paula's picks. See ya.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
If you could rebuild your health on a solid foundation, would you do it? Do you have health issues that doctors just can't get to the bottom of, and all they do is prescribe pills to lessen your symptoms? Would you like a better way? Certified FDN practitioner Desiree Lawn founded Autoimmune Health Freedom because she struggled with health issues from childhood that could not be explained. Today, she lives a vibrant life, free of aches and pains and full of energy to enjoy activities with her family. The life you would like to live. How did she do it? Autoimmune Health Freedom has the tools you need. For a free discovery session, call 858-248-1657 or go to autoimmunehealthfreedom.com. That's autoimmunehealthfreedom.com. Yes, you can feel better again. You can rebuild your health. You can have the life you want. Call 858-248-1657.
Desiree Lawn is not licensed by the state of California as a healing arts practitioner. Is living in today's fast-paced world making you feel stressed and out of balance? Are anxiety, sleeplessness, depression, lack of focus, or weight gain robbing you of your relationship and your energy? If you're ready for change, you need to call Paula Shaw. Paula helps you identify and eliminate self-sabotaging thinking and behavior. Using a wide variety of mind-body techniques, she provides her clients with the most effective processes for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio here with Paula Shaw. For those of you who may have just joined us, we're doing something unusual today. It's just me. I'm just talking about some of my favorite things, my favorite people, my favorite causes, and we're just having a little fun hanging out together. So if you're just joining us, welcome. Now, in this segment, I'm going to be talking about my favorite book. And that just happens to be my own book, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. Seriously, I love this book, and I'm going to give you some reasons why. First of all, it's a small book. You don't have to spend 3 months reading it with your teeth to get the information. I love that, especially in these days when I am so busy and running in so many different directions. Wow, if I can get the meat of somebody's message in an hour and a half or so sitting down, I'm really, really happy about that. And that was my goal. I mean, seriously, I've written big books like This Is Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End? It's a much bigger book with a lot of content. And I wrote a book about the chakras called Chakras, the Magnificent Seven. And that one is a much longer read. But what I love about Saying the Right Thing, and the reason I wrote it to be this kind of small, accessible book, is because I really got tired of, for years now, hearing clients say to me, they'd gone through something horrendous, the death of someone they loved, or a husband cheating, or a wife cheating, or a divorce they didn't expect, or a job loss out of the blue. And they would say to me, nobody said anything. Nobody called. Nobody came by. Nobody acted as if it had even happened. And of course, when that happens, people feel abandoned. They feel alone. They feel like a pariah that nobody wants to have anything to do with. And that is the worst kind of situation for healing. We don't heal well when we're all alone with our thoughts, with our insecurities, with our fears, with all the stuff that comes up for us. In fact, one of my all-time favorite lines I heard from a woman in an Al-Anon meeting many years ago. She said, "When I get into my head, I know I'm behind enemy lines." I thought that was great. But it's true, right? Like we all have all those insecurities, all those fears from the past, our traumas, all those things that impact our thinking. And so sometimes it's so helpful to have someone else to talk with, to run things by, to have their perspective. And when people don't show up, then that really leaves the sad person, whether they're grieving or upset or scared or depressed, that leaves that person alone with their thoughts and their fears. So I realized the reason people don't say something is not because nobody cares. It's not because we're all so self-obsessed that we don't think about what's going on with other people. It's that we're afraid. We're afraid that we'll say the wrong thing and we'll make it worse. Or we're afraid that they look like they're doing okay, and so we don't want to bring it up because then they might feel badly. But trust me, everybody out there, when somebody's gone through a big emotional upheaval, when they are upset, they are thinking about it 24/7. Your bringing it up is not going to be what makes them sad, is not going to be the thing that makes them feel bad. They already feel badly. They already are upset. And if you acknowledge that it might go a long way in comforting them.
I have to chime in here for a second, Paula. if I
Sure.
can.
Sure, Todd.
You gave me a copy of your book, and it really was amazing timing because I had a good friend who his father passed away
Uh-huh.
literally the day after you gave me the book. And because the book is small enough to read within an hour or so, you can always go back and take notes and stuff. But it took me about an hour to read, and because I had read your book, I knew my natural instinct, especially as a man, because you don't really express feelings that much, was to let him wait and grieve a little bit and then call him. But because I had read your book, I called him right away. I called him the next day after I saw on Facebook he had wrote about his father, and it was my friend, and he told me, he said, you have such a good relationship with your father. I knew you were going to reach out to me. He goes, I just knew you were going to reach out to me because, you're a good friend. And I knew that this would hit you hard too, because you knew my father. And I just, I talked to him. We talked for like 2 hours. I'm not a phone guy, but we talked about 2 hours. And when I was done, I just said, it's such a little thing I could do, making a phone call, but it made such a big impact on him. And I said, oh, thank the Lord I read Paula's book. Because, and the things sometimes in life that really, the maturity level and stuff, it's about doing things that sometimes you're uncomfortable doing.
Oh,
and
so
talking
true.
about death and reaching out to him was uncomfortable for me, but I did it because I knew it was the right thing to do.
Oh, Todd, you just lit up my heart with that story, because that is exactly the scenario I hoped for when I wrote that book. And I love that you said for guys, it is true, because women, we're always expressing our feelings to each other. But it's not so easy for a lot of men.
No.
But I guarantee you, Todd, he will be remembering that you did that until his last day on this earth.
Yeah, and I've really changed my mentality. Some other things have happened since then, where like some tragic things happen in people's life, and right away I reach out to them. So I want them to know I'm in their corner, I have their back, and that, in the way I did things in the past, where I'd wait 2 weeks or weeks, I don't necessarily, it wasn't like I was doing anything wrong. I didn't know better.
Right. That's the whole thing. People don't know better. And so often people feel like you. Well, I'll give them a few days, or I'll give them a week, and then I'll give them a call. And then, so often what happens, life just is in session and we get busy and we forget to make that call. And now 2 weeks have gone by or a month has gone by and we still haven't called. And they've been alone all that time with their pain. So you've just made me so happy. And Todd, I think one of the things that people worry about is, I don't know what to say. Maybe if I wait a day or so, I can think it through or practice. And what's one of the best things I'd like to share with everybody? One of the best things to do when you don't know what to say is tell the truth. Just say, I don't know what to say, but my heart aches for you. Or I just want you to know I'm here for you. I love you. Call me anytime to let me know what I can do for you. And by the way, don't just tell them to give you a call. You're there for them. Tell them you'll be checking in with them in a day or so. Because so often when people are hurting, they won't call you. They don't.
Yeah, and in a sense, sometimes too, they don't want to burden you.
That's right.
Or, but that's a great point to say, okay, I'll check up on you. And then make sure you follow up on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Even if you have to put it in your little tickler thing, to call that person, because that will mean so much to them, because now they're not floating alone on a rocky sea of pain. There's somebody that threw them a life raft.
Yeah. And like you said, when this happens, sometimes people go, I'm all alone. Nobody reached out to me, because most likely a lot of people have that mindset. I have let them grieve, give them a week or two, let them grieve. Well, if everybody has that mindset, that is very sad to think they're sitting at home all alone. Nobody's calling, nobody's reaching out to them, because everybody's thinking, oh, we'll let them grieve. Well, in all actuality, not too many people like to grieve alone.
No, most definitely. And the first 24 to 48 hours is you're in shock. That's when it's hitting you hard. And to have somebody who's there, a voice, a hand to hold, a hug, something to ground you and give you hope. Because a lot of people in the initial day or two of a shock, of a big loss, they feel like they're going to die. they're going to go under or they're going to lose their mind, and to have somebody who cares to ground you is huge.
And
Huge.
you hear people grieving all the time saying, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yes.
I don't know I don't know if I can go on.
Exactly. Exactly. And to have a human being who's right there, actually, even if it's on the phone, because sometimes they're far away, that doesn't matter. When our energy is right, we make that connection. And one of the things I wanted to share with our listeners today is those 5 ingredients of a successful, consoling, supportive conversation. So these are some things, Todd, you already know because you've read the book. But I want to share with everybody, the first thing you want to do, set an intention that you're going to have a certain result, that this person will feel connected and comforted through your communication. Secondly, during the conversation, be present. Don't be thinking about what you have to do later or the grocery list. The third thing, have your energy be about comforting and supporting without judgment or teaching. Don't tell them how you would do it or how you would handle their situation. Just comfort, support. You don't want them to feel judged or lectured. And then the most important thing, the 4th step, is listen. Listen with your whole being, because then you will hear what's really happening, and then you'll know better what to say next. Don't be thinking about what you're going to say next. When you're engaged in deep listening, the right thing to say next will show up. So listen, and finally, when it's your turn to respond briefly and appropriately from the heart, not the head. Don't quote statistics to them. Don't tell them they'll get over it. Don't tell them the loved one is with God now and they're better off. Relate from your heart. This must be hard. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Oh, please tell me anything I can do to make you feel better. I ache for you. And if you don't know what to say, simply say, I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. I feel your pain. That's good. That's really good because you're connecting on a heart level. All right, after this message, we'll be back with a little more Paula's Picks. Thank you, Todd. That was great.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Jack Gutman survived World War II and then returned home to the hardest fight of his life with PTSD and alcoholism. Now at age 93, he's a businessman and comedian, sharing his message of recovery and hope in his new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, helping our heroes and anyone who has experienced PTSD find happiness again. Get Jack Gutman's new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, at Amazon.com. Or to order a signed copy, call 714-525-4954.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio. I'm Paula Shaw, and we are talking today about Paula's Picks, some of my favorite products, people, causes, that sort of thing. And in the last segment, we were talking about one of my favorite books, which is my book, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. And my sound engineer, Todd, and the man without whom I could not do this show, had some great points that he made. If you missed them, please be sure you listen to the replay of this show and the airing of this show, because it was some great things. And, I think, Todd, I'm going to throw in right now, because people have asked me this so many times. I talk about the 5 components of a good, successful, consoling conversation. But let me give you some statements that are helpful to say, some that are not helpful to say, and some things that you can say if you're the person who's hurting and people say inane things to you that are making you feel worse. And we all know what that feels like. So here are some things that are helpful to say right out of the book. What happened? That's a great one, right? People need to talk. They need to process what they've been through. I'm so sorry. Was he or she ill for a long time? Again, getting them to talk. The whole idea is the more they talk and the less you talk, the better the conversation goes. Here's another one. This must be a confusing and incredibly complicated time. See, when you make a statement like that, that engages them in conversation. But if you give them a yes or no question, like, are you in pain? Yes. Boom. They don't have to say another thing. Remember, the idea is to get them processing, let them get the emotion out. Emotion is energy in motion, and it needs to move. Here's another one. What's it like for you these days? How are you coping? I can't imagine how painful this must be. Here's another. Were you able to have any meaningful conversations with him or her before the end? This is always a good one to begin if you stop by to see this sad person. Do you feel like talking for a while? Sometimes, excuse me, it's even helpful to say, even if you don't feel like talking, how about we just sit together and watch a movie? Because having a presence can be very helpful in healing, but they may be just too distraught to be able to really carry on a conversation. Here's one that's good. I've never experienced anything exactly like this, but I remember a time, and then you briefly share a similar story, and I mean briefly. Don't go on and on for 10 minutes about what happened to you. Okay, so you get the idea, I hope. Ask questions or make comments that get them to engage in processing and conversation. Here are some no's. Okay. You must get on with your life. You've been grieving long enough. That's not a good one. I know it's tough, but you're not the first person this has ever happened to. Don't cry. Tears won't help anything. I heard you're not taking it too well. You see, those kinds of statements imply judgment, criticism, they're lecturing, they trivialize the loss, and those things are never good. And I want to give you just a few things you can say if you're a person who's going through the loss and people say things to you, like, well, God needed him more than you did. That kind of thing that people say, or I guess it was just his time, or don't worry, there are plenty of men out there, you'll find another. Those kinds of things can really be abusive. Even though they're well meant, they're trying to help. But so here are a few things that you can say if you're the person in pain. Thank you for your concern. It means a great deal to me, but I just need to be alone right now. Or you could say, what I really need is a hug. Or there really is nothing to say. It is what it is, but I appreciate you being here. Or you might ask them, I don't really feel like talking and processing a lot, but maybe we could just sit together for a while. Those kinds of things can really be helpful. Now, moving on to a little different topic. And Todd, I have to engage with you one more time since we're doing a Paula show here. Paula kind of blew it and forgot to set the clock at the beginning of this segment.
Yeah, 6 minutes.
I have 6 minutes. Thank you, dear. Okay, got it. All right, these things happen. This is what it's like recording a radio show. So that's a perfect amount of time for me to tell you about something I'm excited about. Many of you know that I have spoken many times before about the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology. It's the association I belong to. It's the association that educates and also provides conferences and that kind of thing for people who are using processes like meridian tapping or working with chakras, any kind of energy work. These kinds of processes are so great because they go a step beyond talk therapy. They go right to the subconscious mind and they bypass the conscious mind, which is, by the way, only 5% of our mind functioning. The subconscious is 95%. So these methods that we use in energy psychology can be hugely effective in a much shorter amount of time. Well, for a long time, ACEP, as it's called, the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology, we have felt like one of the best kept secrets out there. And so I came up with an idea to create a podcast for ACEP. And excuse me, it was about a year in the making, simply because, we just had to go through discussion and pros and cons and all that kind of thing. But I'm excited and happy to say that podcast called Higher Energy will be launching next week on March 10th. And I need your help. ACEP needs your help. And this is all we're going to ask you to do. On March 10th, please go to Apple Podcasts. Okay? Apple Podcasts. It needs to be there because we want to get the numbers as high as we can in that one place. And we're asking you to subscribe, review. First of all, you got to download. And we have 5 shows waiting for you there. And we'd like you to download all 5 because that immediately starts getting the numbers of downloads up. So download the 5 shows, even if you don't have time to listen to them all right then. Subscribe to our channel. Rate the shows, and they don't need to all be 5-star ratings because that looks a little bit not real. Review the show when you do listen to it because we also want to know what you think. And Apple Podcasts wants to see what people think of the show. And then finally, share it. Please share it with as many people as possible. And by the way, that's the same thing we'd really like you to do with Change It Up Radio. If you go to Apple Podcasts, you can do the same thing, and that will help get our numbers up and bring more listeners and viewers to our show. So remember, download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And let me tell you just a little bit about the benefits of this podcast, Higher Energy. It'll be bi-weekly. We'll be bringing you some of the major names in the field of energy work, all different kinds of energy work, alternative healing, and all kinds of cutting-edge methods. The show will help you reduce stress, boost your health, elevate your consciousness. You'll be exposed to cutting-edge methods for healing emotional and physical issues. And you'll get to meet some of the top players in the game. In the first 5 shows that we already have waiting for you, we have an interview with Rick Hansen, who is an amazing man who takes meditation and inner work to a whole new level. Cindy Dale, who is doing incredible work with I'm blanking on the word. Anyway, neuro work, working with the brain, working with brain, chakras. She's an amazing person, and she is a bright, bright light. Norm Shealy, many of you probably get his newsletter all the time. He is an MD, but he's an expert on alternative health methods. David Gruder, a dear friend of mine and one of the founders of ACEP, and Joan Borisenko, who is an amazing woman and has more degrees than God and is doing some wonderful work with mind-body processes. So that's it, everybody. Download, subscribe, rate, review, share, and please do that for us. We are Change It Up Radio, and you'll hear us on AM 1170 and 96.1 FM here in San Diego on Sunday nights at 9 o'clock. We're on every major podcast platform. And if you can't remember any of that, ask Alexa or ask Siri. They'll find us. And we'll see you next week right here at Change It Up Radio. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Change It Up with life transitions expert, speaker, and best-selling author, Paula Shaw. Join the Change It Up movement with Paula Shaw as we explore topics that inspire, welcome change, and create a new kind of conversation. To learn more about Paula, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities, visit changeitupradio.com. Whether you're feeling happy, sad, mad, or glad, it never hurts to change it up.
Thank you for joining us, Facebook live stream viewers. It was great fun hanging out with you today and getting to talk about some of my favorite picks. So we will see you next week. Please don't forget to go on Don Meredith's page or my page, the one you're watching from right now. You'll see that video. Like it, share it, spread it around. Let's save the people who are being trafficked. And also, don't forget, March 10th, to go on Apple Podcasts and download, subscribe, review, rate the Higher Energy Podcast, our new creation from Mesa. All right, guys, see you next week. Thanks for joining us.